I get those goosebumps every time.
I just have to get the big fella off the bench.
Could this be their last chance now? In it comes, Monster to the front! He scored! Harry Monster scored!
I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too numb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need that line to throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713 through the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me outside? I'm sipping low-key and high, yeah. It's my rider. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. You come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the hype.
Good evening and welcome to Loaded Mag NUFC. Smiley faces in that intro video. Not so much smiley faces today, but what can you do? What can you do? How are you, Pete?
Everything other than the football, I'm all right. But yeah, it was a tough one today. It was a tough one today. I thought it was going to be, but I have to say props to Bournemouth. Yeah, I can't be mad at Bournemouth. People like Tom, who did away days with us, and one or two others. They're really good people, and they show massive respect to Newcastle. So I should be doing the same back. But from a Newcastle perspective, yeah, it was a difficult result to take.
Yeah, no, congrats to Bournemouth. Sorry, it feels weird. I'm using a new setup, a new laptop, and back to my microphone again. So it feels weird for me. So let's get into it. Right, let's walk through the game, and then we'll get into the analysis. So first up is the team news. So yeah, we were down to the bare bones as we well knew we would be, but even further again, no Wilson, Livermore on the bench. Miley got his first Premier League start. The bench was packed full of youngsters as well. Alex Murphy's in there, Ben Parkinson, who did get on, and a few more in there as well. And obviously no Bruno with the suspension. But your thoughts on the squad, Pete, with Gordon having to play up front? To
be fair, it wasn't too different to what we thought it might be. So we're at that point where we're thinking, Miley starts. I think a few people were kind of asking for it, really. I know Chris mentioned it on away days, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world. And we came on and did okay against Dortmund. But look, we just knew how stretched we were. So it was like, right, who can play in the rightful positions? And honestly, looking at Hall and Trippier starting, we went for balance. That's what we did. We went for balance, a left foot, right foot, down the flanks. It made sense. It made sense to play a deeper line midfielder in his rightful position as that sort of number 6, even though he was 17 and making his league debut. It just made sense to restore that balance. And then we had balance all across the team, apart from, you could argue up front, but Gordon has played there before for us. You couldn't really argue with the team, if I'm honest, unless you kind of thought differently, Daz.
No, you couldn't argue with the team, but look at really short on strikers. And look, we'll get into that as the discussion goes. But for me now, the striker department, we have Isaac Wilson. For me, is our third striker. He's not even our second striker. We need it in the summer, but financial fair play didn't allow us to do that. We need that another young, hungry striker, and for me, he would probably sit above Wilson. But Wilson, because Wilson has done his job for us, but it's just the injuries. You can't rely on him, and I think that what I'm talking about here now goes into next season. It can't be just Isaac and Wilson next season. We need another solid option coming off the bench and someone that's going to sit there. But I'm going too far ahead of ourselves, so I've probably got into squad game there by that those comments. But let's get into it. The game. This was the Bournemouth side as well. The way they set up, and a lot of names there, like even Justin Clivert and Max Aarons. lads that I would have in the past in Football Manager would have looked at it and brought in. But yeah, move on a couple of years. And
they went more attacking, Daz, in my opinion.
They did.
But they went Cliver, Semenyo, Solanke, and Tavernier. I didn't expect them to play all of them. I thought someone like Cliver might be on the bench and they might sort of make the changes. I thought Sinisteri would have played. So that surprised me, and it gave me the opinion that they were going to go for it.
On the plus side, Pete, I think I could get you a job in IT by all the little training I'd give you on the side in the background.
That's why we're laughing by the before Red Line.
Right, let's talk about this game. So, right, for straight away, early saves from Popey. Popey had a big part to play in the day. 7 minutes long, had a pop shot. The keeper went over. The keeper got a touch, went over. Lascelles again. He put in a sturdy performance. I think he got his body in the way for a few times, but on the 10th minute he blocked the Solanke shot. Nothing really clicking for Newcastle. No focal point up front. There was a lot of people swapping as well, and Joe Linton went up top, back to what we bought him for originally as a striker. But yeah, there wasn't clicking for him in the number 9 spot either. I know Livermento and Trips, Hall and Trips at that time were swapping as well. A bit of swapping going on just to mix it up. Bournemouth had more chances than us, and in that first half an hour. Then we had the Miggy injury. So add to our list of injuries, this one that we can talk about as well later on. But add Miggy into that now as well. So Richie, come on. Richie back at Bournemouth. Richie, this is the same Richie I thought we should have got rid of 3 years ago. But he still came on and did play the game. Right. In Newcastle, being very good. This is closing the end of that first half. They were very lucky, very, very lucky to be still 0-0 at halftime. Bournemouth were the better side in the first half, and they proved to be the better side in the second half as well. But your thoughts on the first half, Pete?
I thought it was a very laboured first half. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when we played Bournemouth last year at their ground. Our first half performance very much reminded me exactly the same. Was very, very happy to pass it across the midfield or pass it across the defence, but then didn't have that real spark, that bit of quality to play the right ball forward. And when we did, it was very much a kind of a hit and hope, sort of half clearance just to get the ball long and hope that we had some pace that would run on the end of it. It's not what we've come accustomed to playing with Eddie Howe and playing sort of the style of attacking football. But yeah, it reminded me of Bournemouth last season. And it wasn't pretty on the eyes at all. We did have, at times in the half, I think we had a small sort of 5-10 minute spell where we were linking and we were creating a couple of opportunities. I think, Longstaff had his opportunity. I think Gordon opened up when they made the switch. I don't know if people noticed, but obviously Joe Linton played down the middle for most of that half, and Gordon switched to the left quite quickly. And he opened up. He had a couple of openings off the back of that. So we did have a spell in the first half, but look, nowhere near what you would expect Newcastle United to create away at Bournemouth, in my opinion, anyway.
Okay. Right, let's go on to the second half. Straight away, Tino Livermento was on and Hall off. So we got Tino back on the pitch, and again, Tino had another good game. He's every time he plays for us, he has a good game. I think for me, he's a starter for us now in every game, no matter what. If he's on the left or the right, I don't care. I want him on the pitch. Okay, no way through Bournemouth. The only way for us looked like be something coming from set pieces if we got lucky, a corner or something like that. Keeper saves, Trips, free kick, the free kick they put in, and there was a follow up as well. Their keeper Neto got a save on that. 59 minutes, Solanke scores. Lucky break, the ball came off Willock, and Solanke who had stayed running, was the only one that didn't stop really in that phase. And he got on the back with Solanke scoring against us. I don't rate him at all. And he could have scored a hat trick today.
Yeah.
Pete, thoughts on that goal?
I'm just in the process of sending something, so I just wanted to use this to kind of talk about it a little bit more. But all in all, it was a really poor goal to concede. Really, really poor goal. Lots, in the build up to that goal, what we were starting to see is Newcastle tire. We were starting to really tire in the game, and with that, we were in the position where we were giving them the ball time and time and time again. We're winning the ball back, 1-2 passes, and then misplacing a pass. They were winning the ball back and able to press further forward. We were taking too long to play balls forward. We were hesitating. We were trying to keep the ball in defensive areas rather than progress and move the ball forward. And Bournemouth came to life with that, and fair play to them. But for the goal, for me, I just think there were so many errors in that have let us down, in my opinion. But I just wanted to put this up. Hopefully, it will come up, because this is at the point in which Willock goes to nick the ball, and Willock doesn't do anything wrong here, because Willock nicks the ball, and Sky talked about this. They stopped it at this point. And I thought it was a really interesting point they stopped it at, because I think that Semenyo has the ball. He tries to nick it past Willock. Willock plays it, and the ball almost goes between Shaw and Livramento, but out to the left. As anyone's watched the game will know. Now, at that point, you look at where Dom Solanke is, in between the Cells and Shaw. For me, there is no way that he should be getting to that ball. No way. There is far too much ground, in my opinion, that a striker is having to create to get there. The way it goes, it's closer to Livramento. And actually, the disappointing thing about that, I'm not going to put it all on him, but he actually turns and could get there. And he almost, if you watch it back, you almost see him pointing. I don't know whether he's pointing to Shaw or whether he's pointing to Pope, but he's expecting one of them to come and get it. But he doesn't deal with it himself. And that allows Solanke to get in to score the goal. And I just think there's a little bit of naivety, a little bit of a lack of communication in that position. But I just thought that is a goal that we should not be conceding. With as good a defence that we have, even this defence that was playing at that moment, Trippier, Lascelles, Shaw, and Livramento, that defence should not be, with how well they've played recently, be conceding that goal. They just shouldn't be. And I just think there was just a comedy of errors all round that led to that moment that I put on the screen, that then led to the other moment in which Dom Solanke scores. And it's a cheap goal for Newcastle to concede. It's a great goal from Bournemouth's perspective. And I genuinely, when that goal went in, I wasn't confident that we were going to win the game, because we hadn't shown enough at that point that we were, one, going to even get back in the game, and two, be back in the game enough to score 2 goals. That was just my overriding feeling when that went in, because I don't know about you, Daz, I don't know about people in the chat. At that point, I had in my mind that Newcastle United were playing for a point. And I had a similar feeling when we were at that moment last season at the Vitality, and we ended up nicking a point. Like, I just had that feeling, but I don't know what you think about it, Daz.
Yeah, well, I didn't at that stage when that goal went in. I would have grabbed the chance of a draw off you, but I didn't think that we set up and went out to get a draw. I think it's just circumstances with the way we're stretched led us down that path, and then as I'm sure, because I didn't get to see all the way it is, I listened to some of it back, and but I'm sure Keith's stats had listed an awful lot of draws in the last little while. And I didn't see that move, that pointing from Tino Livramento either. So I must watch that bit back again, because I quickly watched that bit before he got set up here. I think Tino, though, sometimes expects more from Pope than he gets, because we know what Pope's qualities are, and getting out after a ball are sometimes not his strong point. And
But
I've seen that from.
no, go on, Dad. Sorry.
No, that was it.
I was going to say, I agree with that to a point. With that, and I do think I think our defence do ask a little bit more of Pope in terms of what his ability is, particularly coming out and collecting the ball. But in that moment, for that particular goal, that should be dealt with either by Shaw or Tino Livramento. Like either one of them just needs. You just need to put your foot through it. You just need to charge, put your foot through it, and clear the ball. I would say Livramento should be the one doing that because he was the closest to the ball at the time. Like if we're backs against the wall and we're under the cosh, which we were at that particular time, Bournemouth were kind of on top at that period. Just clear the ball, and then we can reevaluate, we can reorganize, reshape the team, and go again. Because it was their high press, funnily enough, that brought us into that mistake. And I just think, I don't think Pope should be blamed for that. I honestly think, there wasn't really a lot. I'm sure we'll get to it. There wasn't really a lot that I think Pope did wrong today.
No, I don't think so.
He collected, he punched, he did everything, and I just think for me, Livramento should have done more. But people might have a different perspective.
Yeah. Just I want to grab your picture again because I when I quickly saw this, like I know Lascelles runs a bit, then he kind of stops and kind of went into kind of zonal marking. He switched to play to Shard, but Shard is turned, whereas Solanke's run is running, and his momentum is taking him, so that's a split second ahead of everyone else. I just thought it was just a bit unlucky. I know the Eddie and everyone would analyze it exactly like you're analyzing it there and look at where they could have done better. But it was just for me. I just thought it was unlucky. Well, let's move on a bit further into the game. Because 3 minutes later, Gordon had a shot after Tino's run. Came to nothing. Lewis Smiley came off, Ben Parkinson came on. He was full of running when he came on. He just never got the ball, really. Never really got a chance, really, but they ran everything down. Then it was plain for everyone to see, and I know there was a comment at the very start. I think it was from Jackie. Let me get it here. Yes. Jacqueline says here about Eddie's face when Longstaff went down injured, told his own story. Yeah, and it wasn't no one tackling him. He just got twisted his ankle. It said everything about our day, really. Now, luckily, he was able to continue, but not going well. 71 minutes, Pope with another save. 72 minutes. Solanke, I think was the corner came in first, and Solanke got a touchdown. He got a kind of fumbled in the box. There was a bit of flick. I came off the post first, actually. There was a bit of a flick by Solanke, and it went in. VAR had a look at it, but no, that was a good goal. I said good for them. It stood 2-0 down. Thoughts on that one?
Just again another poor goal to concede. All over the place. They've put it into an area, and they've tried to cause mayhem. And at that point in time, they got exactly that because we weren't organised. You watch the ball come in, and the goal scorer completely leaves Shaw for dead. This guy talked about it. Shaw wasn't even looking at the ball, but the way he just ghosts past Shaw and Shaw just kind of leaves him, doesn't kind of contain him or stop him making that run. And then the ball comes off the post, rebounds, and literally just falls to him. And to be fair, it's not easy. It's a flick with the kind of the back of his foot. He's flicked the ball up into the net. Again, Pope can't do anything. It's like literally a yard out. Like he's there. He's trying to make himself big. The ball just flicks up into the goal. It's just a poor goal to give away. Just defensively from that corner, it was just the whole thing was dealt with poorly, and it just wasn't a good goal to concede. But you look at the reactions of the players, and they just look tired. They look absolutely shattered. Shaw heads down, Longstaff,
Shaw especially,
I thought I didn't even think I expect Longstaff to be on the pitch at that point because he got what I thought looked like a nasty injury. Now it looked like it was there wasn't really much in it. But the ball gets smashed at him And it, like, if you're running or if you've got your standing foot there and the ball gets smashed at you and it just jolts the ankle, that's a ligament. That's a ligament one. And I still, even though he finished the game, having done my ankle ligament so many times playing football, you can finish the game sometimes. Sometimes the adrenaline kicks in and it gets you through. But I worry about Longstaff, and luckily we've got a couple of weeks now, but I worry about Longstaff, what he's going to be like afterwards. When that settles down, is that going to look or be worse than what we think? Because, as you said, guys, we've lost our Miron. We can't lose it.
I know. I was shaking my head with it. He could end up on this list as well. It's just like surely at this stage we should be nearly getting close to emergency signings. I've been allowed to make an emergency signing. You know what they do with keepers sometimes if we don't have a keeper. It's getting to that stage, but I don't think anyone will feel sorry for us. That's for sure. Right. 76 minutes, Longstaff over the bar. I thought that was a great chance actually he had there, but he went over the bar. 80 minutes, Lascelles, another massive block after a Shar misplaced pass. His head was gone. I think Shar, credit to Shar all season, all last season and everything like that. But it just, and it's tiredness as we said. 90 minutes, Richie shot at the keeper. Kraft come on, Willock come off. You might as well rest Willock at that stage in 94th minute. Then another wonder save from Pope, one-handed save from Pope. But full time, Bournemouth deserved their win. 2-0 Bournemouth. Congratulations to Tom and the lads in Bournemouth. But yeah, as we said, very tired, running on empty. Away from home, it didn't help either, I suppose, because you don't have that momentum from the home fans. That little extra percentage could make the difference. We really didn't lay a glove on Bournemouth today, and they deserve their win. Another point I'll make for later on as well. But what's your thoughts? I know what your thoughts are, but what's your final word on the result?
Firstly, like as you've just said, Daz, Bournemouth fully deserved the win. I'm not going to lie. Said it to the Race for Europe boys where they were kind of saying, "What's happened to Newcastle tonight?" I said, honestly, I'm surprised it's only 2. It could have been, and if we'd have played a better team, probably would have been more, because they had other chances that they just absolutely, just poor finishing, just let them down, Bournemouth. But look, it wasn't a good result. I'm disappointed because I genuinely thought that we could put a team out to win. I saw this game personally as a game where we could make ground on the team above us. We could go into 5th with that win on 23 points, although Villa and a few other teams had games to play. You're keeping the other teams potentially with the games they've got tomorrow, with the likes of Chelsea and Brentford, potentially up to anywhere up to 7 points adrift of us if we'd have got that win. And so I saw that as a real opportunity to kind of like bridge that gap, like not bridge the gap, sorry, like spread the gap wider. But they might now bridge that gap if they get a result tomorrow. And Brentford have got to go to Liverpool. Chelsea have got Man City coming to them. So the chances are that they may not. But what you want is that solid opportunity to really kind of spread that gap further and wider. But look, do we need to be really disappointed about this and be kicking off? And I'm sure we'll talk about it with one of the fans.
No way.
In the away end. Do we need to be doing that? Not at all. Not at all. We have just put that list up again. That's that list of injuries up again.
Like the list that's now out of date. Here, hang on a second.
Yeah, now out of date because I'll just throw in one more. Wilson is now out for weeks. Eddie Howe's confirmed. So he won't be back for Chelsea. He's out for a number of weeks apparently with his hamstring injury. You probably add. So he stays on that list. You add Miguel Almiron.
He wouldn't have been playing, Pete. You'd hope that Isak would be back and Wilson would have been on the bench, but he would have taken Isak off at some point and just to give him a bit of a rest because he'd go again. But yeah, if Wilson is out.
But this is the issue though, is that we want to have both of them available so you can look after each one of them. And you know, we all know when Isak and Wilson are fit, they're both sitting on 7 goals this season. Like they are goal scorers, and when they've got time to rest and they've got time to play at their maximum, they can perform at their absolute best. You throw Miguel Almiron onto that. We don't know the situation with Longstaff. Hopefully it's not something serious, but he could potentially be on that list. I genuinely thought Fabian Schär was coming off with a hamstring injury in the first half. He ended up playing the full game, but didn't look anywhere near as sharp as he normally does. So is that a problem? I would fully expect him not to go to Switzerland. So you're kind of thinking that you're looking at this and you're thinking, okay, we might be eased after the international break, possibly Botman back, definitely Isak. Barnes not far behind. Minnesota Max just put on there. Barnes back just after the international break. And you think about
the dates are wrong here. Yeah,
he's like you say like 2 or 3 players back, and you're bolstering the squad, and then you get these 3 injuries, and you're thinking, oh my god, like this is never ending. And so we can't be too down on these boys. We cannot. No. And I don't know if at this point you want me to flick up the video. At this point,
yeah, go for it. Now that you've uploaded, go for it.
Hopefully it works.
He's dead right, 100%.
Yeah, he is absolutely right, and that's obviously doing the rounds on social media. Tonight, off the back of that, I've had so many other fans that of other clubs, some in the Championship, some in the Premier League, that are messaging me that image and that video, and saying what's going on here. And we have to make it absolutely clear there. That's just one fan. That was just one fan, and people in the away end have made that clear. It was one fan. It wasn't the fan base. It wasn't the whole fan base that travelled all that way to Bournemouth. You had a lot of fans, and there's other videos where the fans are clapping the players and they're applauding them, and they know that they've tried hard. But there's always one fan in every fan base that will have a go. And I've had some people come back to me and say, well, we have our right to, if we can praise players, we can have a go at them when they're not trying. Now, for me, those boys were trying tonight. That having a bad performance doesn't mean that a bunch of players that represent this club, that doesn't mean that they're not trying. Those boys tried tonight. You could see they were giving everything, but they are tired. They've played a lot of football, more than most teams in the Premier League this season, because not only are we playing Champions League and Premier League, we're in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. So we've had additional games that other teams haven't. And so, therefore, we are going to be tired. Now, I'm not going to moan about that, because this is what we wanted. We wanted to be at the top table. We want to be playing against the absolute very best. This is where we want Newcastle United to be. So I'm not going to complain about it. But when you've got that many injuries, and Trippier is absolutely right here, when you've got that many injuries, and I don't want to make injuries an excuse, but I tell you what, there's a lot of Premier League teams that have got a hell of a lot of injuries this season. You look at Tottenham, after one game, their complete squad's depleted. Then look at their performance today. Like, I don't want to make it an excuse, but it is an excuse. You could argue that we've got a better team on the injured list than we've got available because of the players that we've got injured.
Bans included, yeah.
Of course. Now, luckily, we've got Bruno back and all the rest of it. But for me, personally, I just think we should not be. I get emotions are high. We're frustrated, all the rest of it. But we should not be having a go at the players after that performance. We're not back in the Pardew era. We're not back in the Steve Bruce era. We're not back there. We are not there. Like, I was one of them that was frustrated and pissed off in the away ends when we had Steve Bruce as manager. I remember being at the Stoke game, Stoke away. We were absolutely dreadful. I think it was a 2-0 loss. And me and Emeka and a few other lads, me, Lowell, Eric, Emeka, Chris Ricey, were in the away end. And we were convinced that Pardew was going to get sacked that night. Monday Night Football. We were convinced. And we were going mad at the players because they looked like they didn't care. They looked like they didn't care about this club. These boys, care about this club, but they're tired. They've worked hard. Some of them had to play 90 minutes week after week after week. We just need to lay off and go, you know what? 2 weeks rest. Let's rejuvenate. Let Eddie Howe get into them, and let's come back harder and better with a few additional players, and let's absolutely smash Chelsea at St. James's Park. That is what we need to do now. And for me, this game's already gone in my mind. We're talking about this on the reaction. I can care less about this game. This game's gone. I'm all about Chelsea now. 2 weeks' time, Chelsea at home, under the lights at St. James's Park. That is the one for me. That's me.
Yeah,
that's my mini rant over.
I agree, and same with the Dortmund game the other night. Once it was over, that's it. I didn't want to talk about it or hear about it and do with it again. Look, it's over. We move on. There was so much to play for still this season. But I'm going to say something that it was a worry I had going into this season. Right, we first of all, when the takeover happened, we looked at the way the Man City did their takeover, and they had stepping stone players. We haven't done that. We've got the players we brought in. They're there either there for the long term or they're good enough to stay around for a few seasons, if not longer. Then there was the talk about when the takeover happened about stepping stone managers. And everyone was saying, "Oh, Eddie Howe is only going to be there for a short time. Keep them up, and then they'll bring in some big name that can bring in big players." Blah blah blah. That's not true either. We want Eddie. We're sticking with Eddie, and Eddie can get us to where we need to be. But what I think this season is going to be, because we're fighting in all fronts, and we don't have a big enough squad because we're not allowed invest all the money we could potentially invest because of FFP. It's going to turn out, I think, and people should be getting to this mindset as well. This could be a stepping stone season. Yes, great things could happen. We could get to the League Cup final. We could win it. We could finish it in the top four. We could finish in the European places. We could win the FA Cup. We could still get out of the Champions League group and get further in that competition. We could be in the Europa League and win that out, or get further in it as well. But it could be, because we're so stretched, and with all the injuries we have now and our long-term injuries as well, it could be, there'll be key moments like the PSG result and the result in the League Cup against Man City and so on and so forth. There's key little pointers, but people spitting out the dummy and having a go at players when they're you can see they've given everything. We're just after beating Man United. We're after beating Arsenal. We had, as I mentioned, we beat PSG. We've had key moments already this season. So take those key moments with you. But last season was we excelled. We probably got to where we are too early. We don't have a squad big enough to compete on all these competitions yet. We will in time, but it's just, I suppose that's what I'm trying to say. This maybe is our stepping stone. It could be a stepping stone season. Still enjoy it, savor all the moments, but it could be these things, because we're so stretched, like today, could be one of the factors out from that.
You would have saw Eddie Howe after the game. And it showed pictures of him obviously looking at the fans and obviously consoling Trippier after his exchange with the fan. And he's looking around, and there'll be questions going in his mind. He will now be thinking, maybe I need to be a little bit more ruthless. Maybe I do need a third striker. Maybe I do need to go out and get a right club. Maybe I do need another centre-back to come in, because he has to be, as a manager now, looking at this and thinking, can I trust Callum Wilson? He's now out weeks now. We don't know when we're going to see him next. Can I trust him? He's my guy, and I love him because I had him at Bournemouth, but can I trust him? These, hopefully, are some of the questions that should be going around in his mind. And it goes back to the point that I said to you guys. I said to you privately, Daz, I was convinced we would get 1 or 2 signings in January. And then I said to you guys privately the other day, I actually think we'll get 3. I think 3 signings should be the target coming in. Whether they're loans, whether they're permanent, maybe 1 permanent and a couple of loans, I don't mind. But 3 quality players coming in January is a must in some of these key positions. And I actually think Les Ferdinand kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit, because he mentioned that he spoke to the club today, and he said He said a right centre back and a right winger, and I was like, and he kind of pulled that back a little bit, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's where we are looking, and maybe that's where we are looking to improve. Now, he mentioned and went on to say, not that the club had said this, but in his opinion, like, we need a third striker, and we do. There's a reason why I talked about, just as an example, Victor Boniface is a player that I think we could pull in. We could get for a cheaper deal now than we would in the summer if we were able to pluck him away, although it would be difficult because Leverkusen are having a fantastic season. But someone like that, there are other players out there. We've got
Marcus Leonardo.
Marcus Leonardo. South
my
America.
My football manager is signing.
But he scored.
I got him to Newcastle.
Yeah. I will try at some point when I get back on there. But this is it. Getting players on there. Getting players in the squad, getting them involved, and really kind of boosting the second half of the season and letting those players know that if you're not going to stay fit, then we're going to bring other players in. And look, I think it was Mark Robson. There is nothing wrong with opinions. I'm not saying everyone should agree with my opinion. There's plenty in the chat, yourself, and there's a couple of others that are talking about individual players. I agree with you. I think Alan Thompson said the same. Certain players didn't play well. I agree with everything that you're saying. These players did not play well, but I'm not going to hold them to that. I'm not going to point the finger and say you were shite today. You were not very, very good. Blah 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 blah. Because those same players have kept us in games. They've won us points this season. And looking at everything with injuries and all the rest of it, like I'm not gonna. You know why, Pete? I'm not.
Because you're not, because you can see the bigger picture. You can see that of where we've come from, where we are now, what how stretched we are in getting there, and we're still in everything. We're still in contention. We're in 7th spot in the league. We're still in contention for everything, and even getting out of the Champions League group. Our injuries are going to play a key factor in making all those things happen, but because we're so stretched. But like, there is no need to spit the dummy out and lose it on, because not a great result, but where have we been? We've had massive gains in the last while.
Mark Robson said Trippier has been knackered for ages. You're absolutely right. He has been knackered for ages. But he's also been and we all know it, he's been one of the best performing right backs in the Premier League, and probably one of our best performers. Chances created, progressive passes, all those things that get us up the pitch. He's been brilliant with. And I think there's someone in the chat that not argued it, but made a valid point about we've got Livramento as an option. Why is Trippier not getting rest? And it's about impact. It's about impact. It's that Trippier, he's such a leader for this team. Wayne Sells isn't in, he's our captain. To have him not in the starting lineup is a big loss. Not necessarily because of the footballing ability, but because the way he leads and orchestrates the team in a lot of games. He's navigated us through some big wins at St. James's Park. He really has. That is why it's really hard for Eddie Howe, in my opinion, to not play him. But again, this is an opportunity for Eddie Howe to look at things and say, you know what, can we keep running Trippier into the ground? Can we now start looking at Livramento playing a few more games and then bringing Trippier on as that experienced impact? That's the question that I hope now that Eddie Howe is kind of asking himself. And this is a part of him sort of learning and developing as a manager, really, because he's got to take these. Look, let's be honest, guys. We haven't had many of these down moments in the last 2 years. Most things have been plain sailing and positive and great. So when these moments do happen, I hope and I expect our manager to look at these things and think, maybe I need to do that a little bit different next time. And hopefully that develops his managerial ability and his skills to be taken on another level, because this is the first time he's been at this level too. So he's learning as he goes along. But no, Mark, I know you're not knocking him at all. I know you're not. Like, I'm with you. I'm with you. What you're saying is you're making some great points. But it's just that I'm just looking at the bigger picture. I'm not kind of honing in on those players. But that's
yeah. I think I said earlier, but on Wilson, yeah, from what we discussed this a few minutes ago, for me, I'm happy to keep Wilson, but he has to be third option for me. We need because we can't rely on him. Now he will still get game time, and if he's not happy to stay as third option, this is next season. Then he can move on. We bring in 2 strikers over the course of the next 6 to 8 months. But let us see. Yeah, I want to go to something that Alan said here as well about we still have Richie, Dummett, Lascelles in the squad. Yeah, we have, but if you think about it, Lascelles has played really well in the last while. If Lascelles hadn't been playing well, and that's why we wouldn't have got wins over Arsenal, Man United, and Botman was there for PSG, and like Dummett when he's come in as well, he's done a job. Again, I agree with you. We still have them. We shouldn't have them in the team. We should have, but the embarrassment of riches we have, we can't actually use because of FFP. And looks like we can't even bring anyone from Saudi on loan either, but the way things are going as well. But we'll see how that vote goes in the next 2 weeks or so. Right. Where we go next? Will we go? Do you want to give a man the match, Pete?
I'll probably give it Pope, if I'm honest.
I give it to Pope as well. And half the channel give it to Pope.
Yeah, if you're giving anyone a man of the match, you got to give it to Pope. He was very, very good. And I don't really think he put a foot wrong. I think he wasn't at fault for either of the goals. He made a few really good saves, particularly in the first half. There was one, I think it was Christie, who always seems to play well against us. He struck a ball from the edge of the area that kind of bounced down, and he, through a clutch of players, managed to push it out. Brilliant save. And Mark Robson, no, not Pope for England. We need to keep as many players at the club as possible. No
international football.
You know what? I'd be saying, Trippier's injured. Forget him. If they try and put Gordon for England now, I'd be saying, nah, not this time. You'll do it in March. I'd be saying for Joe Linton and Bruno, they've got niggles. Keep them all in house. Protect them all, because this is a massive period for us. And Daz, I was going to bring this onto the screen. And the reason being is this. I don't know if you can see it. This is a massive. Obviously, we've got that defeat there. Let's cover that up. But from November into December, this is a massive period for us. Now, I want to separate, put aside the Carabao Cup and the Champions League for now, because we know what those games are all about. But we come back on the 25th to Chelsea at home, St James's Park. Massive game. Chelsea, although they beat Tottenham, not really playing great. Struggling to score, although they scored 4 against a 9-man Tottenham, but took a long time to be able to put the ball in the net. Then you got the big one, Man United at home. Obviously we beat them at Old Trafford. They're going to be up for it. They always seem to be nicking results. They're above us now in the table. How that's happened, I have no idea. They just keep picking up results. Then you go Thursday to Goodison Park. They've picked up results recently. Won't be as easy a game as people think. Certainly won't be as easy as it was last season. Then you go away to Tottenham, a depleted Tottenham. It's going to be injuries against injuries at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Then you go, then, and this is the thing. They're tough games on paper. Some of these, Chelsea, Man United, Tottenham in particular, Everton are not kind of down there in the doldrums as they were last season. But then you got Fulham at home. Forget the Carabao Cup. Luton, Forest to end December. Not a bad run of fixtures, particularly with 2 of those big 3 games, Man United, Chelsea and Tottenham. 2 of them are at St James's Park. Then you've got Fulham at home. Fulham are not playing well. Luton at home, away, sorry. A game that you would expect players being back for and being fit and ready and available. We should go and win there, provided we keep everybody fit. And then Forest, Boxing Day at St James's Park. for me, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking we should be picking up some points in this month. And if we do, we're in a really good position because I think a lot of big teams are going to be playing each other. A lot of these teams, like the Villas, like the Man United recently, are going to be coming into a tricky month of fixtures where they're playing a lot of the top teams. And we're kind of coming out of that by playing some of the teams that they've been playing and either coming to us or we're going to them. So this is a real opportunity for us to pick up some points. So I don't know what you think about that, Daz.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is true, Pete. But the only thing is, and on the positive note, we've got this is a positive and negative answer here. Positive note, we've got players going back in stages. Those dates that I showed up, some of them are right, some of them are wrong. There's like Isaac and Botman who'll probably be back first. There's Barnes that will come back earlier than December, hopefully as well, but he'll need to build up fitness as well. And then the other thing is, though, there's the negative side of it. How many more injuries are going to pick up along the way? Because the way it's going now, it's been disaster after disaster. So yeah, I agree with you. There's some games there that are winnable for sure, but it's just what stage we're going to be at for each of those games. How many bodies do we have come each of those games? And I'm hoping that it's great that the international break is crap that we can't watch proper football. We have international football's on, but if the international, someone said on Twitter as well, if international break was extended till Christmas, that suits even better. But yeah, I think there's winnable games, but just who we're going to have for those games is a worry. And again, it's going to be, because there's a lot of games on top of each other, we don't want to be having to play the same 11 for each of these games. We have to have a bit of depth. We can rotate a bit, because that's what's led us to where we are today.
Well, first of all, we've got 2 weeks to recover. So it's not like we're asking the team to go again on Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday for the next 2 weeks. What, 2 weeks to recover, get those players some rest, and build up fitness levels. As you mentioned, we're looking at the likes of Isaac, Botman, back in, Barnes not too far after that. We don't know the severity of Miggy, so hopefully Miggy's is not too serious. And then what you're looking at there is that you're getting 3 players back, three players that can make a difference.
First team players, yeah.
So that changes things anyway. And this is me not talk about the Champions League or the Carabao Cup. Yes, we've got those games as well, but think about the Premier League. Now you're thinking about some of these games where you've got Fulham mid-December, Luton, Forest. Those games, yes, they're not easy. They're games you'd expect to get points on the board, but could we have Miggy Almiron back by then? Could we have Callum Wilson back by then? That's when you're building your squad back up. And at that point, towards the end of December, we're looking at 6 weeks? 6 weeks away. You would expect us to have a stronger squad by then, which means we can go into these games full of confidence, and thinking, actually, we've got a squad of players better and bigger to be able to get points on the board.
Yeah. Yep. Where are we going next? We look at the chat, Pete, and see comments in the chat. Let me see any good questions.
Yeah, there's a few points here being made. David R. We're dropping some points after these midweek Champions League matches, which was to be predicted. Will Eddie now prioritise the remaining 2 Champions League matches or the Premier League matches, either side, as needs to chase down the top 4? Interesting question.
I think I heard this discussion somewhere else before as well. Maybe it was on Pod in the Time, but Eddie will go gung ho into every game. I don't think he's going to sacrifice any competition, or he's just and I don't want him to either. I want him to do what he's doing. I want him to try and give it a go in everything. And if you run out of steam, we run out of steam. That's what we have. That's happened today. No, keep going on all fronts.
Yeah. Definitely. Thank you, David, for that. We still have Richie Dummett Lascelles in the squad, and we've done fantastic last season, and now it's catching up with the squad depth tonight. It was shocking. Pope, Miley, the rest were shit.
Yeah, and I think thoughts? Yeah, no, I put this one up earlier. Yeah, I agree with what Alan was saying, and then I linked to what you were saying is in January. I think we have to go big, and how much will financial fair play allow us to go big? As in, maybe it's loan players as well. We bring in just a bit of depth to get us over. Because if we're still in Europe in some capacity, we're going to need a bit of depth as well. And on top of that, the whole Tonali ban as well, because it's going to be more bookings and suspensions, and there's definitely going to be more injuries. So we need more. But we are stuck with what we have with till 1st of January at least.
Yeah, definitely. William thinks December is going to be a problem if we don't get more bodies back. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
We think we are going to get bodies back, but we need to have a look and see from that point of view. Jacqueline Hood, I think that is the worst we've played for a very, very long time, but hardly surprising given the status of our current squad. Feels like the gods are against us right now. What do you think about that, Daz?
Yeah, and that's what Jacqueline is saying there. Is exactly what we're saying as well. It's difficult to get too pissed off about everything. We're all disappointed we lost, but because of what we've sat through all the other matches, we know the performances that they've given. We've seen game by game more and more players going down injured and being ruled out. So we're down to the bare bones. We've got so many youngsters sitting on the bench, and one thing, it's good that they're getting a bit of experience as well. It will stand to them as well. But it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to get too disheartened about today's result. And now at least we have that 2 weeks to with the players we have, as well as the one or two that will be come back straight away. We can go again, regroup and go again, tackle everything on all fronts. What about you? I want to grab another one. And I answered the question earlier, but I'm going to put it to you, Pete. Mark Robinson says the squad isn't big enough to fight on all fronts. We are knackered. And so, would you sacrifice anything to concentrate on the Premier League, or would you go the same way Eddie's going and try and attack everything?
I want Eddie to attack everything. Honestly, I'm going to be deadly honest now. We need to get used to attacking everything. We're in this new period now as Newcastle United fans and as a club, but this is going to become a regular thing. Like, we are going to become a regular fighting in European competitions, whether it's Europa League, whether it's Champions League, hopefully Champions League more often than not. We are going to be used to. We've got to get used to this. We've got to some of these players, not all of them, some of them may not be here. Some of them won't be here to see that journey through. But we need, as a group of players, to get used to playing Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, whatever it is, because it's what the best teams do. You look at Man City. Man City are doing it. You look at even Arsenal. They've had a little blip, but they're now doing it. Liverpool have been able to do it for years and match Man City at times toe to toe. If we want to be that team, if we want that dream of winning the Premier League, we have to get used to that and get used to it quickly in playing for every competition. So yeah, I think you will attack all the competitions. But I'll say it before and I'll say it again. The second half of the season, regardless of what competition we're in, or whether we're even in Europe at all, I predict a very strong second half of the season. I really do. I think we will smash our way through some teams in the second half of the season, and I think we'll be right up there. I really, really do, genuinely.
Like if you play out the other scenario, he concentrates on the Champions League. Bit bold, but you could still finish bottom of the group, or you could still just finish third, get into the Europa League. Let's call it Europe, and he could get knocked out in the next round after that. So what's to show for your season then? If he gives up in the League Cup, it could be the one thing we could have got to a final. We could win it. It could be a wasted opportunity if he doesn't attack the FA Cup. This again could be our year, but we're stretched on all fronts. But or if he sacrifices the league to continue on the thing, it's every way you look at it has a negative angle on it. So that's why I think he's going to go for everything, and that's why I'm saying that's what linking back to my point earlier. It's going to be a stepping stone season for us. If we get lucky, great, but you know we can't get all the luck every season. I think we got our share of luck and hard work last season as well. So
if you look at it, Daz, this is just hypothetical. If you look at it, if we beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and West Ham pull off a miracle and they beat Liverpool at Anfield, like we're up there as one of the odds-on favourites to win the competition. We are right up there as one of the favourites to win that competition, and then it all changes. It all changes. You know, you haven't got that Man City, that Man United, that Liverpool at that point. But even if Liverpool do beat West Ham and we beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, we've still got an opportunity to get into the final, depending on how the draw goes. Yeah. Like if for the semi-final, like there's still a massive opportunity, and we all know anything's possible in the final. Anything is possible.
And Anthony, I agree. And like it could, if we were to get to the final there, it couldn't go as badly as it did before. Pope getting sent off the game before, Bruno being suspended and not being in the right frame of mind, and our squad not turning up on the day. You know, and we've learned from that experience, I would hope, as well. And Eddie Howe will have learned from that as well. But look, it's all a learning experience. Sure, Eddie Howe hadn't even attended a Champions League game before in his life until this season, where his team is playing it. So you know, wake up. What's the point of getting thick about this and ruining your weekend as well? Take everything. Take the highs. Take the lows. It's going to get better. The future is rosy for us going forward. We're not back in the Ashley days of the FA Cup is coming up. Forget that. We're getting knocked out in the first round because we're not going to even try. We've a team, we have owners, we have a manager, and we have part of a squad that's going to want to attack everything. So let it happen. Let's see where it lies.
I love this comment from Foxy. Let's just forget about winning the league now. We have to accept it will only be a cup trouble for us. I love that. I love it. And nice one. I hope you are absolutely right, Foxy, because let's face it, we're still in 3 cup competitions. So let's be confident
for now.
Yeah, why not? Okay, what we got? There's interesting another one from Foxy. How many times have Isak and Wilson been injured now this season? Consistent, niggly little injuries. Same story every time the international break comes. 3 forward vital, or 3rd forward vital, meaning the transfer window. Your thoughts? We've talked about it before.
Yeah, it links back to we said it in the summer. We were talking ourselves about strikers. We we were talking about a young kind of striker that could potentially kind of play on the wing position as well, so he get game time, and someone that's not like we knew we could afford a big name striker like in the 60 million on an Isak, another Isak to fight it out with Isak. We want someone that can fight it out with Isak, and when we all knew that Wilson would come with injuries, but that's the way that's the reality of life. We just need someone else to compete in that up front as well, that we can have and rotate as well, and so that we have that luxury then. But we just need another striker, and yeah, how many times? Too many.
Yeah, definitely. Other ones in there. Foxy also says Marcos Leonardo, get him in. Yes. If it can be like Daz's save, then yes, it will be very, very simple and straightforward in the January transfer window. That's for sure. Just other things that Mark Robertson said, the squad isn't big enough to fight on all fronts. That they are knackered. Yeah, I'd agree with that. That's for sure. David R said, we can't feel sorry for ourselves over the next few weeks. If our fringe squad players want a future at this great club, we need to go and grind out some wins against good teams. Interesting point. What do you think, Nat?
Yeah, if this is their opportunity, look at the likes of, I'm going to pick a few names, the likes of Dummett, who's come in and done an excellent job in the League Cup games. Like, this is his swan song. Come in and do it. Richie has to be, I don't know how many swan songs he must be on. He's still getting game time. So yeah, come in and the young lads coming in when they get their chance on the pitch. Go for it. Take your chance, because this club and this project is getting bigger and bigger by the day. And yeah, if you want to be part of it, so they know what to do when they get their chance. So they'll have more chances to come this season.
Definitely. We have, what did Karen say here? The team didn't perform tonight, but some need to understand. They are absolutely shattered and can't rotate because we have so many injuries. These lads have played nearly every game. Yeah. It's kind of what we've been saying tonight, isn't it?
You know exactly what Karen said, and like we're aligning with what Karen is saying here, but some people aren't, and that's okay too. Everyone is is entitled to their opinion. Even the guy that is having the argument with Trips, he's also entitled to his opinion. Probably not the best time to do it, and probably not to Kieran Trippier as well, because he's given everything. Like we were talking about only a couple of days ago, we were saying, maybe it was a week or a week and a half ago, that Trips was one of our best players of the season so far, and then we were saying Gordon was one of our best players of the season so far. Both were on the pitch for us today, but it's just, everyone is entitled to their opinion, but the emotion of it is spilled over maybe in that situation that the video you showed earlier.
Yeah. As we talked about, Wilson withdrawn from the England squad, as out for a number of weeks, according to how we touched on it earlier on in the show. Sorry, we don't know what a number of weeks means. Is it just the international break? Is it 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks? We have no idea, but not good. I mean, I personally didn't see. We did the watch along, Dad. I personally didn't see the moment in which he pulled up, so it didn't look like it was like a pulling up motion. But could it be anyhow just kind of using that as a number of weeks he's out, he'll be back fit and firing, get my words right, for Chelsea at home, or are we looking maybe at Man United the week after? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this could be an Eddie Howe factor in that statement, a number of weeks. But I'd be really, really pissed off if Wilson did turn up for England now, after him not being able to play for us, or even be on the bench. To see him rocking up for England. He probably wouldn't get game time anyway, but still, I want him back, getting right for the next time he is physically able to play for us and do a job for us as well, because I know he can do a job for us. But as I said, I want him as third option whenever we bring in a backup striker to Isak, backup main striker to Isak.
Definitely. Yes, sir. I didn't say they were easy games. They're winnable games. Winnable games. That's different. Bournemouth was a winnable game. We didn't win it. For me, I'll be honest with you. I don't know what your thoughts are, Daz. I think all of our games in the Premier League in November, December are winnable. I think we can win against Chelsea at home. I think we can win against Man United at home. I think we can go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and do what we did last season and win there. I think we can do what we did last season at Goodison Park and win there. That's not just Luton, Forest, and I think I forgot one. I think it was Fulham at home.
Fulham,
yeah, they're 7 games there. Like I think we can win more, in my opinion. But winnable games doesn't. You're right. It doesn't mean that they're going to be guaranteed winning games. I definitely don't think that they're easy games. That wasn't an easy game tonight. They made it very, very difficult for us. But they are more winnable, particularly if we get our players back. Because I do genuinely think when we've got a squad of players to choose from and we can bring 5 big hitters off the bench to make the difference. If we have a Wilson and a Barnes come off the bench, if we have an alternative to come off the bench in midfield, that can make a difference, whether it's a Joe Linton or a Willett, because they won't all start when we've got all our fit and firing players back. If we can bring those options, a Livramento off the bench or a Trippier, if we switch it around, it's big hitters there that we've got at our disposal. We don't have that at the moment. So that was the point that I made in there. Didn't necessarily mean it was easy, because there's no easy game in the Premier League. Alan Thompson said this, February, win the Carabao Cup, still got 3 months to get top 4, which you're absolutely right.
You can clip that bit of the fan talking to Trippier then and play that back at the end of the season. It'll be part of that show reel, I'm sure. I just want to shout out to Mark Robson there. I think Cartman a picture is perfect for him here. But everyone is allowed an opinion, but as long as you agree with me, that's okay. But yeah, nice one, Mark.
I put some good comments in tonight. Definitely, I agree with a lot of them. Great to have your opinions in the chat. You need them in there more often. That's what I say. That's for sure. Couple of others. Ian McKenna. It's a similar question that it appears. Name the striker that would be happy to play second or either third middle. Interesting. What do you think, that?
Yeah, for me, I'm going back to my football manager save, which isn't real, but obviously, but look, there has to be strikers out there like in South America that would jump at the chance to play in the Premier League. They're young enough to learn how to play in the Premier League, take their chances, and with our club being in a number of different competitions, and in the future we're going to be in a number of different competitions. There's game time for them. So. Coming in and saying your third fiddle, fair enough, but second fiddle, why not? And see who your second fiddle to, as in Isak, who has picked up injuries. So again, you jump in, and Wilson, who picks up injuries. So there's game time there for whoever did want to come in. And look at. You had Jesus when he was at Man City. He was always behind Aguero, and he stayed there for a number of years, and then went on to Arsenal. So you have the Argentinian lad now. What's his name again? He's second fiddle to Haaland, and he still gets game time. Yeah, and he's a World Cup winner as well. So there are strikers out there that's only picking South America. Again, you take them from different countries in Europe and so on and so forth that would come in, and you don't sign to be that second striker. You signed trying to be the top striker. If you don't have the hunger and desire, then we don't want you in the first place. So
Eddie Howe would say if we sign another striker, whether it's on loan or permanent in January, Eddie Howe would be saying to all 3 of those strikers, show me that you can be number 1.
Yeah.
First of all, show me that you can be fit every week. Second of all, show me that you can put the ball in the net. And then show me you can link the play and connect the play to create chances for this team. If you can do all 3 of them, on a regular basis, you're my number one. And that would be the question to all of them. And they've all got to step up. They might well be disappointed. But hey, let's remember April. How many goals did Callum Wilson score in April this year?
Yeah.
Because he was angry. Half of them were coming off the bench. He was angry. He didn't want to be on the bench. He wanted to be starting. But what did he do? He was angry. He put the ball in the net. And he wanted to put out there that he was the number one. Ended up scoring 18 goals last season off the back of just being angry of being dropped and Eddie Howe preferring Isak. So
being that game changer, Pete. And like we were even at the Southampton game where he came on and did that. He came on at halftime and was that game changer. So like, yeah, there's plenty of strikers out there. Even if you weren't to I personally would go for a young, hungry striker. But there's journeymen as well out there that could, if you want to look at a third striker option. But I think I'd target a young, someone to come in that second position behind Isak. And yeah, well, I'm not even going to say that we could change our tactics to play two strikers because Eddie Howe won't do that.
Yeah. No, and I think there's another one here.
But actually, I'm going to retract that statement. He would if we were playing in a match and we were 1-0 down, and we've another striker who's on form and is a lethal striker as well. We'd switch to two up top to go for it. He did that in the past with Isak and Wilson, if you remember. He was against. Can't remember who was against, but we're 1-0 down. He switched it up, and we could come back and won something like 2-1 or something like that. But he will change it when he needs to. So plenty of strikers that would jump at the chance to play for Newcastle United.
Yeah, Ian McKenna, we've just talked about this. What we think in a main striker, young striker. Definitely not a Weghorst, please, not a Weghorst.
Or a Chris Wood.
We're not Man United. We don't make those kind of signings like Eric Ten Hag does. So I'd be confident it would be that type of player. But yeah, Daz has talked about a young striker. That Marcus Leonardo is one. I'm not saying he is definitely coming in, but that would be a good option. That's for sure. And on top of that, Thompson says Wilson is going to be our third striker next season. That's for sure. I genuinely think so. That's even if he stays at the club. We've extended his contract, so he's got another year after this. There's no guarantee to say that he's going to still be at the club next season. To say that we don't cash in with a year left on his contract for a particular fee and move him on. Not saying he will, but it won't be. It will be part of that conversation, that's for sure. And
if that situation happened, Pete, that Wilson went, and we have Isak, we have a new young, hungry striker in playing second fiddle, then I'd bring in another option, and let's say just an older option, especially if we're in Europe next season, because we're going to need to rotate. We still won't get away with two strikers. We need the three. So whether it's a pity that someone doesn't come through the youth ranks they rarely do come through as in a striker position, but yeah. So let's see. That's talk for the summer.
Yeah, definitely. Lastly, as Chair said, Dad, you're right. Not everyone's opinions are equal, but everyone is equally entitled to one, and it's what we pride ourselves on this channel for sure.
Exactly. Cool. We start wrapping up, Pete. I have because I have some information on some update from Russ, our sponsor, Russ. And just remove that one in a second. Yeah. So yeah, the radiatorshed.com. A shout out to the lads, to Russ there. And Russ, if you wonder who Russ is, we always like to show a picture of Russ. Here he is. He's the one on the right there, playing the radiator after 3 bottles of whiskey. But yeah, they're not the pictures I wanted to show. Let me talk to you about these radiators, and I have to get my details about this. Brand new, very sexy, according to Russ. The aluminium radiators painted in beaten brass, available in 20 traditional colors and a massive range of size in both height and width, perfect for new Blengy like ground source pumps. lightweight and easy to install, low water content, and with very high heat outputs. Yes, the other thing we want to say is that he's a brochure available now, and I have it here. You can download this brochure if you're interested in the radiators. Get onto the website, the radiatorshed.com. You can download the brochure, get all the details, and also they're launching a trade section to the business as well for installers and plumbers, so you can get the trade deals on rads, valves, and accessories, all delivered direct to your chosen site. So that's interesting update there from Russ, and I think you might have just gone through the pictures there, Pete. So yeah, here's some of the pictures. You can download the brochure, you'll get them better. And this is who Russ is actually here. That's Callum Wilson. That's Russ. So also shout out to HTO Bathroom Design Co. And I'm not going to give the spiel. You know the story with the lads there already. They'll sort you out for all the bathrooms, and you may need if you're upgrading anytime soon. That's really it, Pete. Anything else you want to say before we go? I know we will be back during the week. We have to discuss what shows we're going to put through, but we're getting to that time now as well. You can guess what's coming with Loaded. But we just need to finalize things. A few names bopping about that we want to bring on the show. But anything else you want to say, Pete, before we close out the show?
No, like I said before, disappointing result tonight. But look, I'm past it already, and I'm looking ahead to after the international break, hoping for some players to be fit, hoping for some players to not be out for as long as what Eddie Howe has mentioned tonight. And look, hopefully we can be here at the end of November, absolutely buzzing that we've got 3 points at St James's Park against Chelsea. That's my sole focus right now from a Newcastle United point of view.
Exactly. And I was wanted to say as well, one last thing. Best of luck to Fulham tomorrow against Villa, to Sheffield United against Brighton, to Brentford against Liverpool, to Forest against West Ham, and to Man City against who are they playing? Chelsea. Yes. Yes. So look forward to those games tomorrow. Right. It's not a happy one, but how'd you like that? Good night, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us.
Drink it like weed and tell him you like that.